guys, our neighbors are very kind. This whole time we were doing our house construction, our neighbors have been letting us use their electricity. We plugged all of our tools that we needed to use, like the compressor and our table saw, into their output on the side of their house. It is very nice of our neighbors to let us use their electricity, but we think that it's time we have electricity coming to our house too. To do the electrical work, you need an electrical permit, and we like to do everything ourselves. To get the electrical permit, we had to make blueprints of where all of the wires are going to go inside and outside of the house. After the blueprints were checked, we had to pay them $1,100 so that we can use the permit, and this also includes inspections, so they would come and check that we were doing all of the wiring properly. We would have done our electrical wiring earlier, but we couldn't because we needed to find a plastic panel. The panel would just go on the side of our house and it would hold the meter base, but we wanted to find one that wouldn't need lots of maintenance. We found the perfect panel, but there weren't any left in Canada, so we had to wait 2 months for the panel to be delivered. I hope you enjoy the video.
Here is the plastic panel we have waited so long for. We have attached it to the wall, and now we are measuring so that we can have the meter base directly in the middle of the plastic panel. There will be 4 screws holding the meter base in place, and my dad is drilling the holes for the screws, as they are screwed into the concrete in our ICF blocks, and that's why my dad was using the drill so that he can get to the concrete. There are 4 screws, and after my dad has secured the screws in place, he is putting silicone over top of them so no water can get into the meter base. Now we have the laser level up, and we leveled it so it's super straight so we can attach the smart board to the side of our house, to which we are going to attach the cable channel, which is just a plastic pipe that the wires are going to be going through, and the pipe is going to keep them from getting wet. My dad is using a special glue for pipes to attach the rain-tight conduit connector to the end of the pipe, and this will attach the pipe to the meter base without letting any water get into the meter base. This uses small screws to be attached. Next, we are going to attach the entrance head and the service wire holder to the top of the pipe. Right now, my dad is putting together the service wire holder. Our kind of connection is an overhead connection, which means that the wires are going to be coming up to the top of the house, and then they will be brought down to the meter base. Now it is time to put the wires through. My dad is cutting the cable, and everyone is helping hold the cable so that it doesn't go on the ground and get dirty. After, my dad is putting the cable through the pipe and it is coming out the top of the entrance head. To get it through, my dad fits it through the meter base and then pushes it through until it comes out of the top of the entrance head. Before we put the cables through, my brother is putting a piece of tape around each side of the cable so we can tell which cable is which. And in the rules, the neutral cable needs to be white. So when we get some white tape, we will make the neutral cable be white.
In the rules, the meter base needs to be on the corner of the house closest to the hookup service. We have an overhead connection because we are going to be connecting to the post on the edge of our yard, and that's why the meter base is going to be in the corner of our house. To get the electricity inside, we would have to drill a hole through the wall so that we can get the cables from the meter base to the distributional panel. But if we just drill straight through the wall, the distributional panel would be in our downstairs living room, and we don't want the distributional panel there. We want our distributional panel in the mechanical room, but to get it there are two options. One option would be to have the cable coming up to the ceiling, going through the ceiling and then coming to the mechanical room, which is around 15 to 20 feet from the corner. And if we have the cable going inside, then we would have to buy a 200 amp circuit breaker, which would cost $1,080. We are gonna go with option 2.
We didn't want to spend that much money on a circuit breaker, but we also wanted our house to look really nice and to have the control panel in the mechanical room because it would be out of the way and easy to access. We found a way to do this by having a big wire going underground from the meter base. It would go underground and then it would come up right in the spot where we drilled a hole through the wall so that it could just come to the control panel. This way we didn't need to get a circuit breaker because it was all underground and none of it could be in the house. And the wire that we had going underground only cost $300. We use the excavator to dig away from the house, and then my dad is using the shovel to dig deeper. We went away from the house because we didn't want to hit the other pipes we had going beside our house. So now that we have gotten all of this dug out, we can put the big wire. So my parents are putting the cable into place. The way the cable is made is first they took the wires and wrapped them with some tissue. Then they got a metal wrapping around it, and then over top of it all they have another plastic wrapping all around the cable so that for sure no dirt, bugs, or water will be able to get to the wires inside. And now we're going to have to fit this big wire to our meter base. And on the other side, we have gotten connections so that we can attach the wires to the control panel through the wall. Finally, we are going to bring the wires into the meter base. My dad has a special metal part that is going to connect the wires to the meter base. It has lots of bolts that hold it together, and it has rubber inside, so nothing else other than the electricity through the wires will be able to get into the meter base. My dad is first cutting the plastic that is around the wires, and then he can sort of slide it off to get access to the metal, which is also wrapped around the wires. Then my dad uses a saw to cut the metal because the metal is easier to slide off than the plastic is. So we are just gonna slide them both off at the same time. Once we have gotten the metal and plastic off the wires, it's just the wires wrapped in this like cloth thing that we are also going to cut off. Then we are putting another plastic pipe around the wires, and it will be coming out of the ground and going all the way to the meter base so that the wires don't get damaged from being like outside of the ground, and like if someone came up and hit the wire, then it doesn't break because it's being protected by the pipe. And then we are fitting the wires through that metal piece that we attached. We took apart that metal part and we are sliding part of it onto the wires, then fitting the wires through and connecting the metal part back together so that we have the wires coming into the meter base. So you can see we have gotten all of the wires through, and you can see they're all different colors so we can tell apart the wires. And also there is a fourth wire, which is the smallest, and it is the ground, which is only going to be going down, and we don't have the ground going up. Now that we have gotten the wires into the meter base, we are going to attach them to the correct spots. To attach them, my dad is using the knife to get the rubber off around the wire, so it's just the metal part where the electricity is going to be going through. And then my dad is putting this paste on the metal so that it doesn't get rusty. And then my dad will attach the wire into place using another metal part and tightening it so that the wire is squeezed and won't move around. Now that we have gotten the wires in place, my dad is going to use a torque wrench to secure them in place. And the torque that he uses is 250 inch-pound, which is the measurement of how tight he's going to tighten the wires. And we know how much to tighten them because on the side of the meter base there is a sticker that tells you how tight you have to tighten the wires. Now we have gotten all of the wires secured. Sadly, we didn't get any videos of my dad using the torque wrench. And now we are going to work on the wires on the other side. For this side, we are just going to put the wires through the wall so that they can be going to the distributional panel. So we have gotten the wires through the wall. Here they are. And now we are going to bury the cable back up in the ground because it is supposed to be underground. So we've gotten the cable buried, and in the next video we will do the distributional panel. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching to the end, and thank you to everyone who liked and subscribed. Bye!